I still remember the sound of the front door that night. Not the wind outside, not the television in the apartment next door. Just that small, tired sound the lock made when I turned the key, like even the door was exhausted from seeing me come home late every day. I was so tired my bones hurt. My feet throbbed in my shoes, my white coat smelled faintly of disinfectant and hand sanitizer, and there was a dull ache behind my eyes that had been there for days. That's what being a doctor in a small town does to you. You know everyone, you treat everyone, and when you go home, you're too tired to be anything but a ghost in your own house. The kitchen light was on. That was my first sign that something was off because Kara almost never waited up for me. Not anymore. When she was little, she'd fall asleep on the couch with some cartoon still quietly flickering on the screen, her tiny body curled up under a blanket, waiting for me. But at 16, she was either doing homework in her room or scrolling on her phone with headphones in, locked away in her own world. "Hey," I called softly as I closed the door. "Kara, you still awake?" No answer. Just the hum of the fridge and the tick of the clock on the wall. It was almost 11 p.m. I hung my coat on the hook, dropped my bag on the chair, and walked into the kitchen. She was sitting at the table, hands folded on the surface like she was in a principal's office. Shoulders slightly hunched, hair tied up in a messy bun, eyes red and swollen like she'd been crying. The table was clean, too clean. No cereal box left out, no crumbs, no half-open juice. Just her, sitting there in the bright overhead light like an interrogation scene. My stomach dropped. "Kara," I said again. "What's wrong?" She looked up at me. Her face was pale. Not just tired, not just had a bad day at school pale. There was a kind of sick, terrified paleness there that I recognized from patients who came into my office with test results they didn't want to open. "We need to talk," she said. Every mother knows that sentence and hates it. "We can talk," I replied, trying to sound calm. "I'm just going to grab some water. Do you want tea? Something to eat?" "No," she said quickly. "Just sit down, Mom, please." The word mom landed differently. It didn't feel like a warm word that night. It felt like a warning. I sat across from her. My chair scraped against the floor, sounding too loud in the silence. My heart was already beating faster, and I hadn't even heard the thing yet. "What happened?" I asked. "Did someone hurt you? Did something happen at school?" She shook her head. Her fingers twisted together, then untwisted. I saw the slight tremble in her hands. "I'm pregnant," she said. The world stopped. That's not just a phrase. It really felt like something inside my brain froze. I heard the fridge humming, a car driving by, a dog barking faintly somewhere down the street. But it all sounded very far away, like I was underwater. I stared at her. "What?" I whispered. "I'm pregnant," she repeated, and this time there was something in her eyes. Defiance, fear, pride. A weird mix that made my chest tighten. "I'm 16 weeks. We already went to a clinic to check. They did an ultrasound. There's a baby." I didn't hear the last sentence, at least not fully. I heard only pieces. Pregnant, 16 weeks, already checked. Baby. I must have moved my hand wrong because I hit the glass that stood near the edge of the table. It tipped over, fell, and shattered on the tile floor. The sound snapped through the air like a gunshot. The pieces of glass scattered, water spreading in a little pool around them. I just stared at it for a second, at the mess, at the reflection of the overhead light on the shards, before my body finally remembered how to breathe. "No," I said. "No, Kara. This has to be some kind of mistake. You're 16. 16 weeks. That's 4 months. How did you—" My voice broke. She closed her eyes briefly. When she opened them, there was something stubborn there. "We planned it," she said. I actually laughed. A sharp, ugly laugh. I couldn't help it. "You, what?" "We planned it. I want to have a child with Chuck," she said more firmly this time. "We talked about it. We agreed. It wasn't an accident. I want this." Something in my chest tore. "You want this?" I repeated slowly. You want to have a child, at 16, with Chuck? Yes. Chuck, the boy who can barely pass algebra? I said, my voice rising without my permission. The one who skips class to smoke behind the gym? She bristled. You don't know him. I know enough, I snapped. Kara, this is insane. This is a baby, a life. This isn't some TikTok challenge you can just undo when you're bored. And you planned it? What does that even mean? Did you think, what, oh, we're bored, let's create a whole human being? Her jaw tightened. We want a family. We love each other. Oh, I stopped myself, pressing my fingers against my temples. A headache throbbed there, pulsing in time with my heartbeat. You're children. Both of you. You can't even vote yet and you want to raise a child? Her eyes filled with tears, but she didn't look away. You were 22 when you had me. Yes, I said. And it was hard. Hard enough with a medical degree almost finished and an actual job and an actual plan. And even then your father left a year later and never looked back. You think I want that for you too? You think I can't do it, she said flatly. I think you don't even know what it is, I shot back. You think it's cute baby clothes and maybe some Instagram pictures? You don't think about feeding a crying infant at 3 a.m., going to school with no sleep, working a job to pay for diapers? We'll manage. With what, Kara? I yelled, my voice finally snapping. With what money? Chuck's beer fund? Your babysitting money? Do you even know how much formula costs? How much prenatal care costs? Or do you think I'll just pay for everything like I always do? There it was. The ugly part of me. The part that resented how much everything cost. Time, money, energy, and how little of it I had left. She flinched like I'd slapped her. You're an awful mother, she whispered. It hit harder than any physical blow. I felt something inside me twist and curl. I wanted to scream back that I was the only one who stayed, that I worked double shifts so she could live in this quiet neighborhood with a good school and a safe house, that I missed recitals and parents' evenings not because I didn't care, but because I was stitching someone's husband back together in the ER. What came out was worse. I spent so much money on your education, I said, my voice cold, the words falling out before I could stop them. Dance classes, tutors, school supplies, everything. And for what? So that at 16 you could throw it all away on a boy who lives in a trailer park and thinks a baby is a toy? Her face crumpled. Then it hardened. At least he cares about me, she spat. You care about your job and your patients and your stupid hospital more than you ever cared about me. That's not true, I protested, but it sounded weak even to me. Really? Tears spilled over her cheeks now, hot and angry. Where were you at my dance competition last year, or the one before, or when I got that award at school? You texted me. Sorry, sweetie, had to stay late again. You don't even know who my friends are. You never asked what I wanted. Now I want this. She put a hand on her stomach. And suddenly you care? My throat burned. I've been working so you could have a future, I said. So you could go to college, get out of this small town, have options. Not this. She stood up so quickly the chair scraped again. Well, I don't want your future, she said, voice shaking. I want mine, with Chuck. If you can't accept that, I'm leaving. Kara, don't be ridiculous, I said, also standing. The kitchen felt too small, the air too thick. You're not going anywhere. You're 16. I'm your mother. Exactly, she said with a bitter laugh. You're my mother, not my jailer. And before I could reach her, before I could say the right words instead of the wrong ones, she grabbed her backpack from the floor near the table. When had she put it there? And stormed past me. Kara, I called. Where are you going? Come back here. I'm moving in with Chuck, she threw over her shoulder. We'll figure it out without you. The door slammed. The apartment shook a little. And then it was just me, in a too-bright kitchen, water creeping across the floor around broken glass, my heartbeat pounding in my ears. I didn't clean the glass right away. I sank into the chair she'd been sitting in and put my face in my hands. What did I do wrong? That question played on repeat the next 3 days like a broken record. I went to work. I smiled at patients. I listened to their complaints, adjusted their medications, checked their blood work. I told a worried mother that her son's cough was just a virus and it would pass. I reassured an elderly man that his blood pressure was better. I did all the things I knew how to do, and I kept waiting for the sound of the front door opening at home. Every car that went past our window at night made my heart jump. I turned my phone volume up, checked it every hour, even when it didn't buzz. I texted Kara. She left me on red. I called her. Straight to voicemail. She'll come back, I told myself every morning while I made coffee in an empty kitchen. She's 16. She's scared. She'll sleep on some uncomfortable couch at Chuck's, they'll fight, she'll realize it was stupid, and she'll come home. I made her favorite pasta on the second evening just in case. I threw it away untouched the next morning. On the third day, I couldn't stand it anymore. I started with her best friend Megan. Megan's voice trembled when she admitted that Kara had called her, said she was fine, and asked her not to tell me anything. She said you'd freak out, Megan whispered. I'm sorry, Dr. Roberts. I just didn't know what to do. Has she told you where she's staying? I asked. Silence. Please, Megan, I said softly. I'm not trying to punish her. I just need to know she's safe. A pause, then, with Chuck, in the trailer park. I closed my eyes. Of course. The town was small. Everyone knew there was a trailer park on the outskirts, past the gas station, just before the old railway tracks. Everyone knew the kids who came from there. They always had the same look, a mix of apathy and restless anger. I'd seen some of them in my office, too. Stomach aches from junk food and stress, bruises they said came from falling, parents who smelled like alcohol at 11 in the morning. Kara's there? I asked quietly. You're sure? Yes, Megan said. She sent me a picture of them, on a couch. I could see the trailer behind them. Thank you, I replied. You did the right thing telling me. I drove to the trailer park after my shift, still in my work clothes. It felt like crossing into a different world. The asphalt turned into patched gravel and dirt. The houses shrank, then disappeared, replaced by rows of metal trailers in various states of decay. Some had potted plants desperately trying to brighten them. Others had broken windows covered with plastic. Rust bit into the metal sides like a disease. There was trash in the ditches, beer cans glinting in the fading light. A dog barked somewhere, chained to a post. I parked my car and sat there for a moment, gripping the steering wheel so hard my knuckles turned white. My daughter is living here. The thought made my stomach churn. I'd spent 16 years breaking my back to make sure she never had to live in a place like this. Long shifts, double shifts, weekends, overnight calls. Also, she could have a safe room, a closet with clothes that fit, a full fridge, dance lessons. And now she'd chosen this. I got out of the car. The air smelled like stale smoke and grilled meat and oil. I felt eyes on me as I walked, curious, suspicious. A woman sitting on a plastic chair outside one trailer lit another cigarette and watched me with narrow eyes. I realized I had no idea which trailer was Chuck's. I swallowed my pride and approached the woman. Excuse me, I said, forcing a polite smile. I'm looking for Chuck. He's in high school, brown hair, about this tall. She snorted. You're gonna have to be more specific, honey. This place has more Chucks than mailboxes. Then she tilted her head. Wait, you the doctor from town? Yes, I said, surprised. Yeah, we've seen you around. You drive the silver sedan, always in a hurry. She smirked. Your girl's the one with him, right? The quiet one from the good part of town? My throat tightened. Yes, Kara. Have you seen her? She pointed with her cigarette. Third one down, left side. Green stripe, broken step. They've been in and out the last couple days. Thank you, I said. As I walked down the row, I saw it. The trailer she'd indicated had a crooked little wooden step in front of the door, half broken. Beer cans were scattered around it like a metallic wreath. The curtains were drawn. Music thumped faintly from inside, then stopped. I went up the broken step carefully, knocked on the door. Silence. Then, who is it? Kara's voice. It's Mom, I said. Another silence. This one longer. I could almost hear her thoughts rattling behind the door. Finally, the door opened a few inches. Kara stood there, hair messy, wearing one of Chuck's oversized t-shirts as a dress. Her eyes were wide, and there was a flicker of shame there before she straightened her shoulders. "What are you doing here?" she asked, trying to sound annoyed. Her voice was small. "I came to see you," I said quietly. "Can I come in?" She hesitated, then opened the door wider. The smell hit me first. A mix of stale beer, sweat, cheap cologne, and something fried. The small living area was dim. A game console lay on the floor, cables messy. An old couch, stained and sagging, took up most of the space. Empty bottles and fast food wrappers were on the tiny table. Chuck wasn't there. My eyes swept the room. No sign of a crib, no prenatal vitamins, no anything that said, "We're preparing for a baby." Kara watched my face, reading every reaction. "It's not that bad," she said defensively. I looked at her, really looked at her. There was a faint, bruise-like shadow under her eyes. Her hands were clasped around her stomach. "Are you eating properly?" I asked automatically. "Sleeping?" She rolled her eyes. "I'm fine. Stop doctoring me." I bit back my retort. "Where's Chuck?" I asked instead. "With some friends," she muttered. "He'll be back later." "Has he taken you to any of your appointments?" I pressed. "Has he talked about work, school, the baby?" Her gaze flickered away. "He says he's gonna find a job soon, and he wants a son. He keeps saying how cool it'll be to teach him to fix cars and stuff. He wants to build a crib in the garage." I didn't see a garage anywhere nearby. I took a breath. "Kara," I said softly, "do you really see yourself raising a baby here, in this place, with him like this?" She stiffened. "Here it comes." "I'm not trying to attack you," I said. "I'm scared. I'm your mother. I know what diapers cost. I know what it's like to be alone with a crying infant and no one helping. I know what your body will go through, what your mind will go through, and you're 16. Yeah, you said that already," she snapped. "Maybe you should have thought of that before you never came home. Before you left me alone after school every day. I didn't have anyone but my friends. Now I have Chuck, and I won't lose him just because you don't like where he lives." She sounded so sure, but her fingers trembled on her stomach. I swallowed. "I'm sorry," I said. That got her attention. Her eyes widened, just for a second. "I'm sorry I said those things the other night," I continued. "About wasting money on your education. I didn't mean it. I was angry and scared, and I said something cruel. You're not a waste, Kara. You're my daughter, and My voice cracked. "I've missed so much of your life trying to pay for it. That's on me. I can't change the last 16 years, but I want to do better now." She looked at me, tears threatening in her eyes but not falling. "Then let me live my life," she whispered. "I'm not asking you to give up your life," I said. "I'm asking you not to throw it away. Come home." I stepped closer. "Please, come back. We'll figure this out together. I'll take care of you, of the baby. You won't have to do this alone." Her lips trembled. "I'm not coming back without Chuck," she said finally. "We're a family, I told you." I stared at her. 2 children, I thought. 2 children who think they're adults because they can say the word family and planned. "Fine," I heard myself say. The word tasted like swallowing glass. "Then he comes too. If that's the condition, I accept it. But I won't leave you here. Not like this." Her mouth fell open. "You'd really let him live with us?" "I don't want to," I admitted. "But I want you safe more than I want to be comfortable." Something flickered in her eyes. Relief, love, maybe guilt. "Okay," she said softly. That's how I ended up with 2 teenagers in my house and a third one growing in my daughter's body. It was like someone had taken my life, shaken it like a snow globe, and put it back down with all the pieces somewhere else. Chuck moved in 2 days later with a duffel bag, a box of video games, and an inflated sense of confidence. He kissed Kara in front of me in the hallway, one hand on her belly like some proud father-to-be, and said, "Thanks for letting us stay, Dr. R. I'll totally pull my weight." He didn't. I made rules. Chores, curfew, no drinking, mandatory doctor's appointments for Kara. I printed them out and stuck them on the fridge. It felt ridiculous, but I needed structure. I needed something that looked like control. Kara nodded along, promising to help. Chuck grinned and said, "Yeah, sure, no problem," like he was agreeing to take out the trash once in a while. Then they spent most of their time in her room with the door half closed, laughing at videos, playing games, scrolling through baby names online. Once, I found them arguing in the living room. Kara was holding a brochure from the clinic, talking about prenatal vitamins and parenting classes. Chuck was scrolling through his phone. "We can't afford all this crap," he said. "You know how expensive baby stuff is? We'll get what we need when the time comes." "When the time comes?" I repeated, walking in. "The time has already come, Chuck. That baby is growing right now, not in some imaginary future where money magically appears." He shrugged. "I'm gonna find a job," he said. "I'm looking. My friend's cousin said he might get me into some mechanic shop. I'll work there. And when the baby's born, I'll teach him how to fix cars and we'll hang out in the garage. It's gonna be sick." "Her," Kara said. "It might be a girl." "Whatever," he replied. "I'll still teach her to fix cars." Teaching a child to fix cars requires you to have a job, a stable space, and tools, I said patiently, trying to keep my temper. "Right now you have none of those." He rolled his eyes. "You worry too much, Dr. R. Everything's going to work out." I stared at him. His cockiness, his lazy grin, the way he patted Kara's stomach like it was a new gadget. Underneath it all, I could see it. The immaturity, the fear he'd never admit, the way he still thought life was some movie where everything somehow falls into place at the last second. These are children playing house, I thought. But it was too late to rewind. The months blurred. Kara's belly grew. She stopped going to dance class. She said she was too tired, but I knew the look she was getting from the other girls didn't help. The shy, calm girl she'd been turned into someone brittle. Any small comment could set her off, especially from me. "You're smothering me," she'd say. Or, "Why are you acting like you care now?" We had small moments that felt almost normal. Once we sat on the couch and looked at baby clothes online. She ran her finger over a little yellow onesie and smiled, really smiled, for the first time in weeks. "It's cute, right?" she said softly. "It's adorable," I replied. "We'll get it." Another night, she fell asleep on the couch with her head on my lap, exhausted from a day of nausea and back pain. I stroked her hair and remembered her as a toddler, falling asleep in the same position, a tiny hand clutching my sleeve. Chuck, meanwhile, talked a lot and did very little. He'd brag to his friends on the phone about his baby. He posted pictures of Kara's bump with captions like, "My little fam," and heart emojis. He told Kara he loved her 100 times a day, but he didn't go to her appointments unless I forced him. He didn't look up anything about pregnancy beyond gender reveal ideas. He didn't get a job. Every week there was a new excuse. They weren't hiring. The boss is a jerk. The hours suck. I watched all this and bit my tongue so hard it almost bled, because every time I tried to push, Kara defended him like a lioness. "You're just judging him because he's not a doctor," she snapped once. "I'm judging him because he doesn't keep his word," I said quietly. She glared at me. I thought that was hell. I was wrong. Hell came one evening when Kara was 5 months pregnant. I was washing dishes when I heard a crash from her room. Something heavy hitting the wall. Then another sound. Something breaking. I dropped the plate back into the sink and ran down the hallway. "Kara," I called, heart racing. "What's going on?" I burst into her room without knocking. She stood in the middle of the floor, hair wild, face red, breathing hard. A picture frame lay shattered near the dresser. Another one, her dance competition photo, was face down with a cracked glass. Her phone was on the bed, screen lit. A video was paused on it. "Kara, what happened? Are you okay? Is the baby—" "Don't say baby!" she screamed. "Don't you dare say that word!" I froze. "What's going on?" I asked, forcing my voice to stay calm. "Did something happen with Chuck?" She laughed, a terrible broken sound. Oh, did something happen? Yeah, you could say that. Here. She grabbed the phone and shoved it at me. The video played. A party. Loud music, colored lights, people dancing. The camera shook like it was in someone's hand. Then it turned toward a couch. There, in the flickering light, sat Chuck. His arm around a girl I didn't recognize. Her legs were across his lap. They were kissing like no one else in the room existed. Someone off camera shouted, "Yo, Chuck, what about your baby mama?" He turned to the camera, grinned, and shrugged. "She'll be fine," he said. "She wanted a baby. She didn't say anything about me sticking around." I stopped the video. My hands were shaking. Not with surprise. Some part of me had been waiting for this. But with rage so white-hot I could barely see straight. "I'm going to kill him," I whispered. Kara picked up a snow globe from her shelf and hurled it at the wall. It shattered, fake snow scattering across the carpet. "I hate him," she sobbed. "I hate him! I hate him! I hate him!" She grabbed another object, a book this time, and flung it blindly. It hit the wall, then slid down. "Stop," I said, stepping toward her. "Kara, stop. You'll hurt yourself. Please think of—" "I don't care!" she screamed, clutching her stomach with one arm as she grabbed a pillow with the other and threw it. "I don't want this. I don't want any of this. I'm stuck with this thing, and he gets to go to parties and kiss girls and live his life." This thing stabbed me straight through. I moved fast. I grabbed her wrists as gently but firmly as I could. "Look at me," I said, voice low but urgent. "Look at me, Kara." She resisted, then finally lifted her gaze. Her eyes were swollen, her mascara streaked. "He left me," she whispered. "He left me, Mom. And I'm fat and ugly and tired and stuck, and it's all my fault." "It's not your fault," I said immediately. "Yes, it is," she shouted. I was stupid, and I wanted some stupid fantasy, and now my life is over, and it's your fault too because you were never home, and I needed someone, and he was there, and he said he loved me, and I believed him." The words hit like arrows. "My fault?" I repeated, stunned. "Yes," she cried. "If you had been around, if you actually cared, I wouldn't have needed someone else. You were always at the hospital, always taking care of everyone else's kids while I was alone. You think I didn't notice? You think I wanted to get pregnant at 16? I just wanted someone to stay. And now he left and I'm stuck and—" She sobbed so hard she couldn't breathe. I held her wrists and felt her shaking. My own eyes filled with tears. "I'm so sorry," I whispered. "I'm sorry I wasn't there enough. I wanted to give you everything I never had. A house, security, college, a chance. I thought if I worked hard enough that would be love, that it would be enough. I was wrong." She sagged, the fight leaving her for a moment. Is it too late?" she asked in a tiny voice. "Can I stop it? Can we get rid of it? I don't want it anymore. I can't do this. Not without him." My heart shattered. "You're 5 months pregnant, Kara," I said softly. "It's too late. Our state doesn't allow termination that far along, not for this reason, and even if it did—" I swallowed hard. "There's a baby there, a heart, a brain, a whole little person. I know you're terrified. I know you feel trapped, but we can't undo this. We can only move forward." She stared at me like I'd slapped her. "So I'm stuck," she whispered. "You're not stuck," I said. "You're redirected." It sounded weak, even to me. "We'll find a way. I'll help you. You won't be alone." "Like you helped me before?" she said bitterly. I had no defense. That night, after she finally cried herself to sleep curled up on her side, I went to the bathroom, closed the door, and slid down the wall to the floor. I cried quietly into my hands. Not delicate tears, but ugly, painful sobs that shook my whole body. I cried for the 22-year-old I had been, pregnant and scared, and married to a man who would leave as soon as life became complicated. I cried for my mother, who drank herself to death because she didn't know how to cope with being alone. I cried for Kara, who repeated the same patterns, like some cruel family tradition. I cried for the baby, who didn't ask for any of this and was coming into a world already full of pain. And I cried because I didn't know how to fix any of it. The months between that night and Ava's birth were a blur of doctor's appointments, arguments, silent meals, and days where Kara didn't leave her bed. She stopped going to school. The counselor called. I lied and said we were dealing with some health complications. They were compassionate. They didn't know the full story. The family doctor recommended therapy. Kara refused. I don't want to tell some stranger my life, she muttered. They'll judge me. I offered to go with her. She shook her head. It doesn't matter, she said. Nothing will change. So I did what I knew. I monitored her health. I made sure she ate. I dragged her to her OB appointments even when she complained. I watched the ultrasound screen when she refused to look. Do you want to know the sex? The technician asked once. Kara shrugged. No. I said yes. It was a girl. When Ava was born, Kara was 17. She lay in the hospital bed, hair plastered to her forehead, eyes unfocused. The labor had been long and hard. She cried. She screamed. At one point she grabbed my hand so hard I thought she might break my fingers. Why did you let me do this? She gasped between contractions. Why didn't you stop me? I tried, I whispered, kissing her forehead. I tried. I'm here now. Breathe, baby, just breathe. When the baby finally came out, red and wrinkled and furious at being dragged into the world, she let out a piercing cry. The sound cut through the fog of exhaustion like a knife. That's her, the nurse said, smiling. That's your little girl. They placed the baby on Kara's chest. For a moment, Kara just stared. I held my breath, watching. This is it, I thought. This is the moment you fall in love, the moment everything changes. But Kara's eyes were distant. She raised a shaking hand and touched the baby's cheek like she was afraid it would burn her. She's small, she said faintly. She's perfect, I whispered, tears spilling over my cheeks. I stroked the baby's tiny back. You did it. You brought her here. The baby, Ava, though we hadn't officially said the name yet, fussed, rooting blindly for a breast. The nurse helped position her. Kara winced. It hurts, she complained. I know, the nurse said gently. Your body's been through a lot. It'll get easier. Kara's face twisted. I'm so tired, she whispered. I don't want to do this right now. Her eyelids fluttered, heavy. Sleep, I said softly. I'll stay with her. As she drifted off, the nurse looked at me knowingly. Do you have support at home? She asked quietly. I thought of Chuck, who never showed up, not during labor, not after. I thought of my ex-husband, who didn't even know he had a granddaughter in the world. I thought of my mother, dead 5 years now. I looked down at Ava. She had calmed. Her eyes were closed, her tiny hand resting on Kara's hospital gown. I have me, I said. And now I have her. We named her Ava the next day. No special story. The name just felt right when I said it out loud. Ava Roberts, I whispered, holding her in my arms by the window, the morning light laying soft on her tiny face. Welcome to the world. The first months were brutal. Ava screamed at night. She screamed during the day. Colic, the pediatrician said. Her little digestive system was adjusting. It would pass. Kara lasted 2 weeks staying in the same room. Then she started sleeping with her headphones on, turning away from the crib. I can't, she said, eyes hollow. The crying, it makes me want to throw her out the window. She burst into tears as soon as she said it. I'm a monster, she sobbed. No, I said quickly, pulling her into a hug. You're exhausted and overwhelmed. That's not the same. So I took the night shifts. I walked the hallway back and forth with Ava in my arms, bouncing her gently, humming lullabies I barely remembered from Kara's infancy. My back ached. My eyes burned. Sometimes I'd catch my reflection in the dark window, hair messy, face lined, a baby on my shoulder, and I'd think, I'm back here again. But I'm not 22 this time. I'm 38. My body doesn't bounce back the same way. During the days, I worked as much as I could, sometimes from home, doing telehealth consultations, sometimes at the clinic, leaving Ava with a hired babysitter for a few hours when I could afford it, or begging my elderly neighbor to sit in with her. Kara, meanwhile, drifted. She scrolled on her phone a lot. She texted friends. She occasionally held Ava, took a picture with her, posted something cute with a heart emoji. She changed a diaper here and there when I asked firmly. But the moment the baby cried too hard or too long, she would hand her right back. "I can't," she'd say. "She hates me." "She doesn't hate you," I'd reply. "She's a baby. She cries. That's how she communicates." "Well, I don't speak baby," she muttered. We argued, constantly. "Can't you watch her just one evening?" I asked once. "I need to sleep. I have a 12-hour shift tomorrow." "I want to go out," Kara shot back. "Megan invited me. There's this thing at her cousin's place in the city. I never get to do anything anymore." "That's because you have a child," I said, louder than I intended. "You chose this. You can't just pretend she doesn't exist." "I didn't choose this," she shouted. "I chose a family with Chuck, not this single mom nightmare." We both froze at the words. Her face crumpled. "I'm sorry," she whispered. I didn't mean that." "Yes, you did," I thought. "And I can't even blame you," but I said, "I know you're hurting. I know this isn't the life you imagined. But Ava is here. She's not a punishment. She's a person. Your daughter." "My mistake," Kara said, tears in her eyes. "My mistake with Chuck. And your mistake for never being there." There it was again. The knife. One night when Ava was about 6 months old, I fell asleep in the rocking chair with her on my chest. When I jerked awake, the dawn light was seeping through the curtains. My neck hurt. My arm was numb from her weight. I looked at Kara's bed, also empty. I frowned. Maybe she'd gone to the bathroom. I checked. No one. The apartment was too quiet. No TV, no music, no sound of someone rummaging in the kitchen. A cold wave passed through me. "Kara?" I called, trying to keep my voice light. "Kara, where are you?" No answer. I walked to her room. Her closet door was partially open. Some clothes were gone. The drawers were messy. The window was closed, but something was missing from the dresser. The photo of her and Megan at the beach last summer. She was just gone. I sank onto her bed, Ava stirring against my shoulder, and felt the weight of it all press down until I could barely breathe. She left. She really left. I could see her in my mind's eye, backpack slung over one shoulder, eyes red but determined, slipping out the door while I snored softly in the chair. Walking down the street as the town slept, heading toward the bus station, toward the city she always said she wanted to see, running away from the crying baby, from the broken dream, from me. She left a note saying that she's going to the city, will find work, and send money. But there was no promise in writing, no signed contract, just a half-whispered intention from a girl who'd been a child herself a year ago. I pressed my face into Ava's soft hair and inhaled her sweet, milky scent. "It's just us now," I whispered. "You and me." She stirred, made a small sound, and then settled again. In that moment, sitting on my teenage daughter's bed with my granddaughter in my arms, my heart did two things at once. It broke for Kara, the scared, stubborn, lonely girl who felt so trapped she thought leaving her baby was the only way to breathe, and it set like concrete around Ava. I failed with your mother, I thought. I won't fail with you. I remembered my own mother then, her tired eyes, the smell of alcohol on her breath in the evenings, the way she'd say, "I did my best," as if that erased all the nights she'd forgotten to pick me up from dance class because she was at the bar. I had sworn to myself, at 18, holding a positive pregnancy test in my shaking hand, that I would never be like her. And yet, in a different costume, I had been. I wasn't the drunk mother at the bar. I was the mother at the hospital, the clinic, the double shift, stitching other people's wounds while my own child quietly opened a wound of her own. I thought money and safety and a good school would be enough, I murmured to Ava. I thought if I gave your mom everything I didn't have, that would fix everything. But I wasn't there. Not really. Not the way she needed. I can't go back, but I can do better now. For you. Ava opened her eyes then. Big, dark, curious. She blinked at me. Then her tiny hand reached up and grabbed my shirt. 2 years later, she's toddling around our small living room, hair in little pigtails, laughter bouncing off the walls. "Grandma, look!" she calls, showing me a stuffed rabbit missing one ear. "Hop, hop!" I'm standing in the doorway, still in my work scrubs, a bag over my shoulder, keys in my hand. I'm more tired than I've ever been in my life, but when she smiles at me, her whole face lighting up, something inside me melts. "Wow, Ava," I say, dropping my bag and crouching down. "Is Bunny hopping?" "Yes," she chirps, making the rabbit bounce along the couch. "Bunny hop, Ava hop!" She hops herself, her little legs bouncing. She almost falls, giggles, gets back up. I laugh. We live in the same quiet neighborhood, the same apartment, the same kitchen where Kara once sat and told me she was pregnant. There are more toys now, more child-proof locks, more drawings stuck to the fridge with magnets. My days are a delicate balancing act. I still work as a doctor. I cut my hours a bit, but not too much. We still need the money for rent, for food, for daycare. I take morning shifts when I can so I can pick up Ava in the afternoons. On days when I can't, my neighbor, Mrs. Harris, my unexpected guardian angel, picks her up and lets her nap on her couch until I'm home. I don't go out. I don't date. I barely remember what a full night's sleep feels like. But when Ava throws her arms around my neck and presses a sticky kiss to my cheek, I know exactly why I'm doing it. Kara sends money. It started 6 months after she left. A transfer to my account. Small at first, then more. Regular. Always from some service, never with a clear employer name. Sometimes there's a short message. For Ava. Or, buy her something nice. I did the math once. A 19-year-old girl without a degree, without obvious skills, sending that amount every month? It doesn't add up to waitress tips or retail wages. Not in this economy, not in any. I'm a doctor. I know how to read lab reports, scans, clinical histories. I also know how to read between lines. She's doing something she doesn't want me to know about. Sometimes my mind runs wild. Is she stripping? Doing some shady online thing? Dating some older man who pays her bills? The thought makes me nauseous. But every time I pick up my phone, stare at her number, and hover my thumb over the call button to demand answers, I stop. Because I know if I push too hard, she might disappear again. And right now, her voice on the phone once every few weeks, the money coming in, the occasional photo of her in some anonymous city street with a coffee cup in hand, that's the thread between us. Thin, fragile, but real. "Hi, Mom," she says when she calls. Her voice sounds older, tired, sometimes hoarse, like she's been up late. "Hi, honey," I reply every time. We talk about safe things. "How's Ava?" "She's good. She started saying no to everything last week, very passionately." Kara laughs a little. "Sounds like someone I know. We were at the park today. She chased a pigeon for 20 minutes. We don't talk about the night she left, or about Chuck, or about what she's doing now. We circle around those topics like they're landmines. Once, after a long silence, she said very softly, "Do you ever tell her about me?" "All the time," I replied. "She knows she has a mommy named Kara. I show her your picture. I tell her you love her." Another silence. I imagined her in some tiny apartment sitting on a bed with her knees drawn up. "Thank you," she whispered. That night, after we hung up, I went to Ava's room. She was asleep in her little bed, one arm thrown over her stuffed rabbit. I sat on the floor beside her and leaned my head against the side of the bed. "I hope one day," I murmured, "you and your mom can sit in a room and talk without all this pain between you. I hope you can forgive her. And me." I thought about everything I'd learned in the last few years. Not from medical textbooks, not from conferences or journals, from crying in bathrooms and rocking chairs and waiting rooms. Being there isn't just about paying bills. It's not just about buying dance shoes and healthy food and saving for college. It's about showing up when they're having a dumb drama about a friend, or when they want to show you a stupid meme, or when they're sitting quietly in their room doing nothing. It's about putting the phone down, the laptop away, the medical charts besides, and saying, "Tell me about your day," and actually listening. I can't rewrite the past. Kara's childhood will always be what it was, a blur of an overworked mother and an empty house. But Ava's? I can change that. The next morning, I'm running late for work. The clinic called at 6 a.m., asking if I can cover for a colleague with the flu. My instinct is to say yes, automatically. It's what I've always done. Of course, I'll be right there. That reflex has kept the lights on, the mortgage paid, the fridge full. I look at the time. I look at Ava sitting at the table, legs swinging, smearing peanut butter on her toast. "Grandma?" she says. "You go work?" I open my mouth. I hear Kara's voice in my head. "You were always at the hospital, always taking care of everyone else's kids." I close my mouth. I pick up the phone again. "I'm sorry," I tell the receptionist. "I can't today. I have to stay home with my granddaughter." They're surprised, but they manage. Of course they do. I'm not the only doctor in the world. I put my phone down. Ava looks at me with big eyes. "You stay, Gamma?" I smile. "Yeah," I say, coming around the table to ruffle her hair. "Today I stay. What do you want to do?" "Park," she says immediately. "And ice cream. And ducks," I laugh. "That's a lot for one morning. But we can try." Later, as we sit on a bench by the small pond in the park, Ava tossing crumbs to ducks and narrating their every move, I feel my phone buzz. A message from Kara. "How's my girl?" Then, a second later, "And how are you?" I stare at the words for a moment, the sun warm on my shoulders, Ava's laughter spilling into the air. I type back, "Your girl is throwing bread at innocent ducks. She's very serious about it. I'm okay. Took the day off to be with her." There's a pause. Then, "I'm glad. She deserves that. You do too, you know." I swallow the sudden lump in my throat. "We're both learning," I write. Ava tugs my sleeve then. "Gamma, look, baby duck." I put the phone away. I turn fully toward her. "I see," I say, smiling. "Tell me all about it." She launches into a long explanation about duck families, her hands waving in the air. I listen, really listen. Because in the end, that's what I wish I'd done more of with Kara, and that's what I will never, ever forget to do with Ava. I can't fix everything. I can't erase the pain or undo the choices. But I can be here now, emotionally present, eyes open, heart open, for this child in front of me. So that in 16 years, if she ever sits at a kitchen table and says, "We need to talk," maybe the story will end differently.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to like, subscribe, and explore our channel for more love, betrayal, and redemption tales.